Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Want to know if you can hear me and see me. Yesterday was a total debacle because I was talking, spilling my guts out, and you guys couldn't hear me. And it looks like the mic is on today. So, welcome back to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's Business Talks, we're going to talk about John Fetterman. John Fetterman gave a heartfelt speech in Congress and he basically got choked up. You got to bring it down here. He got choked up. He got choked up because he wanted everyone to know that he is facing a disability due to his stroke that he had about 18 months ago. And also, he felt like people were like bullying him. So we're going to talk about that. We also going to talk about Matt Walsh and Pearl Davis. They had it out on X today. And the whole beef was about should a man get married versus not get married. You know, Pearl, to me, she is the ultimate grifter. She she does have good talking points. You know, she does state some statistical facts, but I don't believe she believes in what she's saying. And only reason why I'm saying that because she doesn't lead the life that she tried to push. But anywho, her and Matt Walsh was beefing it out. It was so bad that Matt Walsh, actually wife, ended up jumping in and giving Pearl a piece of her mind. So we're going to talk about that as well. Then we have a couple of other stories that we want to talk about. The mayor in Dalton, Illinois. We're going to talk about her. Her name is Tiffany Hanyard. And let's get to John Fetterman. Let me show you this. You got to close the door. You got to close the door. You guys, let me know if you hear a lot of feedback too, because I hear it in my microphone. Anyway, let me just pull this a little bit closer. Um, so let's pull up John Fetterman, and this is his speech. Now, there's some people on X, formerly known as Twitter, that I follow that I don't agree with. And only reason why I follow them is because I need to be in the know. You know, maybe it'd be a good video to talk about or a good subject to talk about. And that's why I follow these particular people. Case in point, Ed Krasenstein. This guy, when I respond to him or put something on his post, it's always SU Ed. I don't know if he gets it, but because he always gets under my skin with his posts. But anyway, this particular post is about John Fetterman. Is John Fetterman a hero? Now, Ed Krasenstein, I believe he's a journalist. I think for Washington Post, but whatever it is, he's not really on, he's one sided. You know, I believe journalism, you shouldn't be one sided in your journalism. You should just state the facts and leave out your opinion. Let the audience give or come to a conclusion of their own opinion. But anywho, so he puts this up by about John Fetterman, a hero. Does he deserve a chance? As you could see in this video while talking to other individuals with similar issues, Fetterman gets emotional. He says, I have a I had a stroke 18 months ago and I lost my ability to fully process language. And I like to think that I am empathetic person truly. But until that happened, I raised to a whole different kind of level. I was ridiculed, made fun of because I wasn't able to process things sometimes. I'm so sorry that I'm sure of you had to go through this kind of thing. How can we become more empathetic, more responsive, and more effective? Are people, then Ed posed a question, are people treating Fetterman unfairly? Doesn't he deserve a chance? So I want to watch this. I'm going to let you guys watch this before I give my commentary.
It's been a very personal issue with me. And it's been a very personal issue with me. And I'm going to show this, and then I'm going to describe this to others. This is my iPhone, and this is a transcription service that allows me to fully participate in this meeting and conversations with my children and interacting with my staff. Yeah, I had a stroke about 18 months ago, and I have lost my ability to fully process language. And I like to think I was an empathetic person, truly. But until that happened, I've raised to a whole different kind of level as well. And it's profound to know, though, that I never really considered that without this kind of technology, I couldn't watch television. And I can't imagine if I didn't have this kind of a bridge to allow me to communicate with other people effectively. And because I live in a political environment, I was ridiculed and made fun of because I wasn't able to process things sometimes or say things. So I'm so sorry that I'm sure many of you had to go through this kind of thing. I was lucky that I was lucky to go through my life, the vast majority of that, without this kind of disability that I have. But again, I can't imagine and how the challenges, and I admire everyone that has to kind of live with these kind of struggles and prevail over them. And the questions that I have is really more of an open-ended kind of question to everyone on the panel. How can we become more empathetic, more responsive, and more effective senators to provide the kind of support and services that anyone in these communities deserve to be a citizen here in our nation? Mr. Westbrook.
Yeah, I think it just takes political will and the will to become accessible.
So you see, John Fetterman got choked up on because of this. Just because he feels as if people are not giving him grace. Now, I kind of understand what he's saying because, yeah, he was the brunt of the joke because I think totally should have stepped down, even a temporary step down, went to some type of what is it? Um, where you get speech therapy and all that stuff after you have a stroke. They do have therapy for people after they have a stroke. Matter of fact, I have a cousin, probably John Fetterman's age, that went through the same thing John Fetterman did, and his speech was delayed. It took a while. Like if you say something to him, he knew what he wanted to say, but he couldn't say it. And he went through a whole therapy thing for maybe a whole year until he was back to his normal self. So, but does that take away from, okay, you went through this thing, people need to be more empathetic. Yeah. but you're still running the country and you're still in the front of everyone. So, yes, people are mean. So, you're in political office. This is what signed, you signed up for. You might not like it, but this is what it is and how people are. Now, the whole thing about him, them changing the rules for the dress code, I think that's unacceptable. What are what's your dress has nothing to do with your speech delay. Now you're saying that you're a competent person. So why are you dressing that way? Why all of a sudden the decorum is gone because you had some type of medical illness? And I think it's unfair to your constituents and it's unfair to the American people because you expect someone to be at a certain level when they're passing laws and voting on bills. I mean, you guys let me know. Let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction here. But you have a speech delay. Okay, you're saying that's not inhibiting you to do your job. However, you said, "Oh, okay, I want to wear shorts and Nike tennis shoes to the Capitol," which is totally unacceptable. So, are you blaming your speech impediment on the way you dress? I would like to know. So he felt like he was being bullied. And of course, he is, yeah, people are going to be mean. They're going to scrutinize him because he's a senator. So let me just share this tab with you. And I'm just going to show you some of these highlights. Some of these highlights on this where am I at? Tripping. Some of these highlights on these news articles. So, they changed the dress code to fit his whatever, whatever he wants to do. They literally changed the house rules to fit him. And Fetterman wears casual shorts to Senate meeting with Zelensky. Republicans slams the Senate dress code changes. Nearly every GOP senator signs letter blasting new Senate dress code. This is that, and you feel like you are being picked on, but people think it's ridiculous. Even the View co-host debate Fetterman's wearing hoodies, shorts to Senate. This is ridiculous. This is from the View.
Hey guys.
And what do you want people to do? You want people to say, "Oh, he just had a stroke 18 months ago, so he should be able to be comfortable." And this is what they're saying. They're saying it's sloppy attire.
Capitol still have to dress up. They're still required to. But here's my bigger issue with Fetterman. I feel like I went pretty easy on him because I feel strongly about if you have mental health, physical health struggles, talking about it openly is challenging. And I applauded him for doing that. But he's lost me. I mean, politically, we don't agree anyway. He spends his time on his official Senate Twitter account engaging in some, frankly, Marjorie Taylor Greene-like behavior. He's referring to male genitalia. He's calling Republican derogatory names.
And I don't like it when Ted Cruz does it. I don't like it. I don't like what I feel is the erosion of decorum in the Senate, which I think is incredibly important. I didn't like it when Kristen Sinema showed up with all of those colored wigs looking like Senator My Little Pony. I thought she looked like Schneider from One Day at a Time when she showed up. Do we have the picture of her in that jean vest? So I thought that was ridiculous. I think this is ridiculous. Listen, I don't want to show up at a funeral home and have the funeral director in a hoodie and shorts. I don't want to show up to my plane today and have my pilot in a hoodie and shorts.
It's so.
So everyone's saying about the decorum. He's crying about, they're talking about him about maybe decorum in his speech. So you have to have some type of metric. Okay, you guys. You have literally you have to have some type of standards. If anyone could run for Senate, Joe Schmo down the street could run for Senate, or a bum, because literally he looks like he just woke up off a sidewalk and went into the Senate house. That's what he literally looks like. He looks like he was homeless. But if he doesn't want to follow the decorum and they want to change the rules, to me, it's really ludicrous. So one person cannot call you out. You call out, the other party, then the other party call you out. But when does it stop? You guys just getting lower and lower, like in the type of standards we have. And to me, it's kind of ridiculous. Raymond Brady says you have to comprehend what you're reading or what you read. And I'm sorry for the money we pay him. Buy a suit. This isn't a backyard barbecue. And I agree, it's not a backyard barbecue. It's, you're running the country. Like, does anybody realize that even when they change the rules for him, you are actually running the country? Herbicide said rehab. Yeah, rehab was the word that I was looking for. I said physical therapy, but rehab. He needs to go to rehab. And I'm pretty sure he has good health insurance. Go to rehab. Get your speech therapy right. Get your brain synapses to work and connect right. Eat more blueberries. I don't know. But should you be on the House floor or the Senate floor? Probably not. Probably not until you get yourself together. Okay, so I mean, that's all we're going to talk about that. I mean, and we can't say anything more about what he's crying about. I mean, what more can you say? But I do want to share this with you before because it's kind of funny. It says breaking news, breaking Senator Paul Rand shows up to work at the Capitol barefoot in red bathrobe after the Senate dress code change. He's not even a Democrat. It's like he just rolled out of bed and didn't bother to put any clothes on. This is insane. He's making a point. He's making a point. And I think it's a pretty funny point. Okay, so let's get to our next story before we get off of track. Matt Walsh and Pearl Davis. Now, this was pretty interesting. I wanted to show you this too. This is Cory Booker. I guess since they have the freedom of wearing anything, he decides to wear this. Like, okay, you're wearing pink booty shorts at the Capitol after the dress code has changed. So he just so people are just, doing whatever. I guess they changed the dress code. They're trying to prove a point. And he's a Democrat. Anyway, I wanted to share with you Matt Walsh and Pearl's tweets, which is kind of interesting. And I think it started because Pearl was saying that well, she's trying to prove a point that men shouldn't get married. It doesn't serve them any purpose. And let me just go to her tweet. I don't know, does anyone know what track cons mean? I'm not for sure. Okay, so she tweeted, um, typically rich men get wrecked and can recover. It's the average man that I could see on the brink of suicide. This comes from a tweet that she was talking you about men getting married. And she says, "You'll be surprised what white women do in divorce courts after 2 kids. Let me tell you." Maybe I should just go to Matt Wash tweet because he's the one. Okay, here it is. Um, okay, this is it. Pearl put up the issue you are also going to get with tradcons is they are typically above average in some way. They live a different reality. Tall, wealthy men, successful, are better able to recover after a divorce. It's the average man, the truck drivers, construction workers, the plumbers that are financially ruined and contemplate suicide. And she goes to say men are 8 times more likely to commit suicide after divorce. So you get these rich men encouraging men to sign up for marriage without warning them to any of the risks. They have spent little to no time listening to what these men have gone through, and their solution is just pick a good woman. They have no idea how much a woman changes during a divorce, and typically there's nothing the man could have done. Now, Pearl, she thinks guys, and most of my followers are men. She thinks guys are supposed to be able to commit adultery, and you shouldn't have no quorum about it, because they're just living in their natural self, I guess. And women should remain virtuous. Um, I think both the parties should remain virtuous in a marriage. So Matt Walsh tweeted, 6 kids and married for over a decade. Pretty sure I understand marriage and family life a lot better than you, Pearl. So that's what he put. And some people said, stop speaking for men. It's really annoying. Your girl boss energy is not wanted in this space. Then I probably wouldn't have more influence than you if you were the case. So Pearl feels like, oh, I have a mass of 1.8 million following on YouTube. She has about 349 thousand followers here. So she got about 2 million people following her. She got kicked off of TikTok. So anyway, that was the whole thing back and forth with Matt. But then so she let me just go back. Then Matt responded, Pearl, the fact that you think you could speak for men and even speak to the male experience better than I can really conflicts with your alleged anti-feminist leanings. You're lecturing men and speaking out against marriage. Both are as feminist as it gets. Now, you guys tell me if that I don't know if you follow Pearl, but if you think that's correct. Also, for the record, I was not even close to wealthy when I got married, and he was not. His wife said, yeah, he was pretty broke. I think he was 25 when they got married or something like that. And then you can't say, okay, just because you're tall. I don't know the statistics. Tall men are wealthy, the most wealthiest. I'm not for sure about that. I've seen some pretty short wealthy men. So I don't know. I think to have a successful marriage, and I talked about this last time. I think you guys both have to have kind of the same morals and beliefs system. You can't use divorce as a, hey, if it don't work out, I'll just get a divorce. It shouldn't even be in your vocabulary. Then once you say, okay, we don't believe in divorce together, you tend to work out stuff. Okay, what's the alternative? We don't agree on this point. What's the alternative to getting us past whatever we're disagreeing on? And that's why I don't believe in unreconcilable differences. Well, any person don't agree with everything you do. So what do you mean unreconcilable differences? What does that actually mean? And I think they make divorce a little bit too easy. And I think that's what Pearl is saying. Not to take her side, but I think that's what she's trying to say. Oh, they need to change divorce laws and not make it so easy to get married or divorce. Because when men get divorced, if they're the breadwinner, or vice versa, women get divorced, they're the breadwinner, they on the short end of the stick, they end up paying alimony support to the man. So they were going back and forth, of course, and his wife chimed in. And Alicia, or her name is Alyssa Walsh, she said, I shouldn't even respond to you because you're just a griffer at Pearly Things. but I will one more time. I didn't see the first response. You are so full of it. You are doing a disservice to conservatives and will likely find yourself a spinster with the negative outlook on marriage that you are spewing. And if you know what Pearl says, since she's not a virgin, she's not trying to get married at 26. The most ludicrous thing I ever heard, but she's like loom doom on her life. So it's like, okay. I mean, she don't even claim to be like a hoe or anything. She just saying, oh, I'm not a virgin, so I'm not gonna get married. So anyway, you have no idea who you are. You make assumptions because you see successful men expressing the positives about getting married and having a family. I think a part of your issue is that they are men and not women promoting marriage, and that doesn't sit well with you for a plethora of reasons about your own upbringing and outlook that I could sit around and psychoanalyze all day. Well, Pearl came from a good background. Her parents been married for like 30 something years. So I'm not for sure, or maybe that's why she doesn't want to get married. I notice, but that's feminism. I notice some women that never get married, their parents were together, and they will make negative comments about their mom, how their dad treated their mom. And their mom and dad will still be together. And like one of my friends, she used to say, why would I want to get married? To be a slave? He treats her so bad. That kind of thing. And it's like, no, she has a role. Her role was to stay in the house and make sure everything was running in the house. But my girlfriend, she called her mom a slave and she really couldn't stand her dad. And it's like, you wouldn't have the things that you have if your dad wasn't out working and your mom was staying at home cooking and making sure the house was operating properly. But maybe that's Pearl's problem. I don't know. So do you think when Matt and I got married, we had money? Um, Matt was wealthy at 25 and thinking, wow, I have so much money. I don't care if I get married young and divorced at some point because I can bankroll a divorce. Do you think only now, 12 years in, at this juncture of his career, he decided to be a pro marriage? You will be wrong on all counts. He and other conservative men aren't selling people on lies regarding marriage. They are beacon of encouragement in this dumpster fire of a culture that promotes self. God forbid he shows the joys of marriage. Even then, Matt isn't forcing anyone to get married. Promoting marriage is not a form of assisted suicide. Stop insinuating as much by throwing shade and posting stats, all as a means to get views and clicks. But you do have men agreeing with Pearl because of the statistical analysis or basis that she brings. Now, just pick the right person. I know it's easier said than done, but if you know yourself, you was brought up in a good way, hopefully. And or even if you wasn't brought up in a two-parent household and you didn't want what you was brought up in, you don't want, so date somebody the opposite. You know, that's what you got to do. to have a successful relationship or to meet successful individual or person or man or woman. So you can't just go off of statistics thinking that, oh, I'm just going to be a statistics. That's just all loom and doom. I just don't agree with that. And I believe if someone is promoting a thing, I think they should be doing that thing. You know, it's because she used to talk about women shouldn't. I mean, you're like I said, you're Pearl Davis. She's a woman. Talk about what women should be like, and then just lead by example. You know, she's just trying to get her men audience, and I truly believe the men that are probably was wronged in some way, form, or another, or in the divorce, or these young guys that don't have a clue about life, don't have any type of guidance. They're getting the information from her. So anyway, that's enough about Pearl Davis and Matt Walsh. They was going back and forth. There's a lot of people agreeing with Pearl, and there's a lot of people agreeing with Matt. To me, my own personal opinion, I think Pearl is a grifter. Sometimes I believe she just don't believe in what she's saying. She just saying to get what, likes or views. But I don't believe she believes. Anyway, we're going to move on to our next topic. We're going to talk about this Tiffany Dalton lady. Tiffany Dalton, I'm saying Tiffany Dalton. Her name is Tiffany Hayden. Tiffany Hayden. Taxpayers are spending a lot of money for her security. And she's the mayor of Dalton, Illinois. It's like a suburb. And it says is the part-time mayor of South Suburban Village, a little more than 20,000 people. Yet residents of Dalton are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to provide security for their self-proclaimed super mayor. That's in their title. I didn't put it, they put it. The self-proclaimed super mayor.
Police Department of Ford.
Let me make sure you guys can see this. Here you go.
To have this many officers attached to her detail?
We can. We really need them patrolling the streets.
So she's the part-time mayor of a South Suburban village of a little more than 20,000 people.
Yet residents of Dalton are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars per year to provide security for their self-proclaimed super mayor.
Tonight, Fox 32 investigates Tiffany Henyard's security detail and the massive amount of overtime it is generating for a handful of officers. Our Dane Placco has more.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany A. Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Supervisor.
Tiffany Henyard makes nearly $250,000 a year serving as both Mayor of Dalton and Thornton Township Supervisor, an elected political double dip. She's charismatic and controversial.
Nobody knows something.
You guys, let me tell you, and we'll see previous videos from her because this lady is off the chain. Young lady, she probably in her mid-30s, close to her 40s, but she's off the chain. But she does like flamboyant stuff. Now, she is under investigation by the FBI because they're saying that well, you just heard it, she's double dipping. She's a supervisor over one town and she's a mayor over another. So how can that be? But it's allowed, I guess, for now. But I'll let you listen to the rest of this.
Don't nobody know nothing.
Here she is starting a Dalton Village board meeting dressed like the Wesley Snipes character in the movie New Jack City. later punctuating her political points with the help of her own DJ.
Every single resident. Pay me what you owe me. Thank you, DJ.
And it's hard to turn anywhere.
Can you imagine going into a political meeting and she's playing Rihanna, bitch better have my money? Bitch better have my money. Okay. Yeah, but like I said, she's real flamboyant and she's off the chain.
In Dalton without seeing Henyard's picture or online, where she recently commemorated 9/11 with her own photo.
I'll ask you a few questions.
Okay.
But when we asked Henyard a few months ago about her use of tax dollars, she was quickly hustled out of the room by armed security. And on Facebook, in videos posted by Henyard herself, we see her being driven around and surrounded by Dalton officers, which got us to wondering, why all the cops?
We weren't opposed to her having the security detail. We asked how long and how often.
Dalton trustee Brittany Norwood says Henyard began assembling her details shortly after being elected in 2021, using hand-picked Dalton police officers. Using a Freedom of Information request, we obtained the work records for 6 of the officers assigned to Henyard's security detail at various times, and showed them to some of Dalton's trustees.
This is a Freedom of Information request we did to see how much overtime these officers are making on her security detail.
Oh, wow.
162 hours.
162. Oh, that's nothing. What goes through your mind when you see these numbers?
It's disappointing. It's frustrating.
The officers are paid every 2 weeks, which without overtime is 80 hours. But when they're put on Henyard's detail, that 80 hours balloons to well over 100 hours, sometimes 200 hours. And in the case of Officer Terry Young last May, 303 hours worked over a 2-week period. That resulted in a single paycheck of more than $13,000.
How? How does a person put in a 2-week pay period, 303 hours? That's impossible. That's impossible.
There's 336
Does he never
hours.
go to sleep?
In fact, there are 336 hours total in 2 weeks, meaning Young was not being paid for only 33 hours over that period. Other officers on the security detail are also racking up overtime paychecks in the multiple thousands of dollars.
Mayor, mind if I ask you a couple of questions about your security detail?
Absolutely not.
I'm asking her.
Yeah, she says no.
A couple weeks ago, we tried to question Henyard about her detail as she went door to door in Dalton giving out water on a 100-degree day, surrounded by police, firefighters, public works employees, and 2 videographers documenting for Dalton's Facebook page.
I want to tell the people I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. I hope they post what we actually do here in the village of Dalton and stop telling lies.
But when we gave her an opportunity to explain the OT,
Mayor, why do you need so many officers, details, or your security?
What did you say, water? It sounded like you said water.
earlier that day, we watched as a Dalton cop drove Henyard from her other job at Thornton Township to a Mexican restaurant for lunch. Trustees say the security detail picks the mayor up at her home in the morning and is with her until she's dropped off at night, often taking her on errands and shopping.
Does she need a security detail?
Absolutely not. Why? Why would you need a security detail?
Oh, she loves it. She just loves it. She loves the detail. I think it makes her feel as if she's like a superstar.
Dalton trustees have filed a lawsuit against Henyard, saying she's not justified the need for security and is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on it without the board's approval.
I see no justification whatsoever, and more than that, it's really a detriment to the residents of Dalton.
How so?
The residents, if we would take the same money and put it on officers patrolling the streets, then the residents will see a much better presence and public safety will be better.
We've had a few shootings, so we need the extra police patrolling our streets instead of patrolling her.
And we found Dalton credit card statements showing that Henyard takes the detail with her even when she travels out of town, spending thousands of dollars on plane tickets, lodging, and meals for the officers.
Mayor, why are you taking all the officers out of town with you? Isn't that a waste of taxpayers' money?
Let's go to this one right here, 30 times.
Anything you want to say to defend yourself on this?
As for the village's finances, trustees say Dalton is now getting sued by some vendors for failure to pay its bills.
In the last 2 fiscal years, we're $5 million in the hole And a big part of it is the security detail.
It's embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. You don't see the governor with a detail as hers.
That lawsuit over the mayor's detail has not yet been settled. On Monday, we emailed a list of detailed questions to Henyard's spokesman, but never received a response. Dane Placco, Fox 32, Chicago.
This is ridiculous. It doesn't why would you need so many security officers in a town of 20,000 people? Like, who are you protecting? You probably know every single one of your residents. Who do you think you are? Somebody put in here, she got so many, she got more security than Beyonce. Raymond Brandy. And think she's a narcissist. Yeah, she's crazy. I don't know if you guys heard about her, but this lady is nuts. This is ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. It's saying the FBI probes Tiffany Henyard administration while Thornton Township spending also at issue. It said it was about a week ago the editorial board of the South Suburban News presented an editorial regarding Tiffany Henyard and her leadership in the Southland community of Dalton, where she serves as mayor. She's also serving as the township supervisor of Thornton Township. It was shortly after the news report Fox News Chicago where questions were raised about her CARES charity, questions about public funds allegedly being laundered by the charity, according to the reporter. Now the South Suburban News has learned that the FBI has questioned several individuals regarding the spending, alleging theft of services and issues regarding accounts controlled by the village of Dalton and the township of Thornton. Now, I could give you basically a synopsis of this because I read into this a few months back. She's basically, so since she's over the, what is it? That township, she's the supervisor of the Thornton Township, so she's authorizing the checks. She is actually donating money to her CARES Foundation from the township, and it was upwards $10,000 to $20,000 at a time. I don't know how much money. They probably are going to subpoena the records or whatever. I mean, it's probably public, but they're probably going to look into see how much money have they actually issued to her foundation. So it says that she went on to say that she believes it has been the public that has alerted the investigators to Dalton and Thornton due to something as simple as township going from 2 million in the black, now running 2 million deficit. Yeah, because your ass ran you in them to a deficit. Before you got there, they had a slush fund. And then you saw the slush fund and you said, "Oh, I'm in leadership in that position. I could sign a check, so I'm just going to write checks to myself and launder all the money out from the township and use security detail." They said her seemingly ghetto fabulous presentation bucks the decorum of council meetings with music and DJ from time to time, as well as rumors of chitterlings being given away to families during food giveaways. I don't know, but you know, Dalton, Illinois, I think it's predominantly a black town. So I don't know what the chitterlings have to do with it, but okay. So I'm going to share with you guys. Let me see if I could find the actual video. But you know that little snippet that they played. I think I saved it actually. Shorts, the history, watch later. That snippet where she was saying, "Bitch, better have you my money," Rihanna. I found that video. And like I said, you were in, matter of fact, you have, you're double dipping. You have two positions. So you have access to more money than the normal person. You got access to the city's money and the township money that you're supervising. And you're using security detail that you don't need. It's only 20,000 people in that town. Where are you actually going? It doesn't make any sense for you to be using all that money. Okay, I think this is it. Let me share this with you. Mhm. Oh, and then the other guy that they were mentioning before we start this other story up, Terry Young. Officer Terry Young was paid 303 hours for over a 2-week period. I bet you anything she's sleeping with that guy. I bet you anything. This is the guy she's sleeping with. We're gonna find out, like Corey Bush. Remember, I reported the story on Corey Bush. We talked about Corey Bush end up getting married to her security guy. And she was paying him a substantial, well, he wasn't getting a substantial amount, but the roles changed after she married this guy. But like clockwork, she was giving him a set amount of money. And this is like, you could at least make it realistic. No one in the world will work 303 hours in a 2-week period. I mean, this is not even realistic. You work 300, and I think they said it's 360 hours in a 2-week period. You work 303 out of 3. When did you sleep? You didn't never sleep. Or you're counting the clock when you were sleeping with her. Let me know if I'm wrong, you guys. This is ridiculous. Anyway, so let's get to this story.
Make sure you support the cause.
Now, this is her charity. Politician charity funnels tax dollars.
Support the movement.
A South suburban politician spends taxpayer dollars on a march to Springfield to promote her personal charity. But when we started asking questions, the party's over.
Fox 32 and the Illinois Answers Project, part of the Better Government Association, are investigating the charitable foundation of Tiffany Henyard, who is on 2 public payrolls as Dalton mayor and Thornship Township supervisor.
What we found is raising serious questions about the use of taxpayers' dollars, employees, and equipment. Fox 32's Dane Placco investigates where all that money is going.
Nobody knows something. Don't nobody know nothing.
Tiffany Henyard certainly isn't shy about attracting attention. Here she is starting a Dalton Village board meeting dressed like the Wesley Snipes character in the movie New Jack City, later punctuating her political points with the help of her own DJ.
Every single resident. Pay me what you owe me. Thank you, DJ.
Henyard's picture and name adorn virtually every public posting, both from Dalton, where as mayor she makes $46,000 a year, and in Thornton Township, where as the elected supervisor she collects more than $200,000 a year. But for all that money, Henyard's tenure at both has been chaotic, with firings, scandals, and a legal battle with the Dalton trustees over spending.
So you got somebody doing wrong. There was one report where she locked out some trustee board members. You locked them out. The trustee board members are the people that's going to keep everybody in line. Oh, we're not spending money on this. We're not spending money on this, or we are spending money. This is the budget. She locked them out.
Last fall, Henyard did something that would seemingly generate some good publicity, helping establish the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation to help breast cancer patients. And on the very day the charity was chartered, it received a huge donation, $10,000, from the Thornton Township Board, which Henyard presides over.
Taxpayer money shouldn't be paid into those types of things.
Stephanie Wiedemann is the former Thornton Township Chief of Staff whom Henyard fired shortly after taking over in March of last year.
It almost felt like a takeover, and a very aggressive one at that.
Since her firing, Wiedemann has been documenting township spending and says she's stunned by the taxpayer dollars funneled into Henyard's charity, especially this.
We got 10 days. We're going 196 miles.
Last October, Henyard led a delegation of Dalton and Thornton Township employees and political supporters on a march to Springfield to promote her breast cancer charity, which she documented on her Facebook page.
We're walking through Dalton. Hi, we're in Brightwood now. We are in Godly now. We in Bloomington, baby.
I can pretty much map out their entire Springfield trip on the township credit cards.
That's right. Henyard billed thousands of dollars in hotel rooms and meals during the trip to Thornton Township and Dalton credit cards. In addition, the videos show Henyard used multiple village and township vehicles owned by taxpayers to escort the caravan, including a flatbed trailer with a photographer, flying a drone, and a DJ.
We got our mayor right here coming from Dalton, Illinois, walking all the way to Springfield. Y'all make some noise for our mayor, the people's mayor.
But they didn't always walk.
We on motorbikes, baby.
At times, right.
Remember the one episode with Vivek Ramaswamy and the what's that one girl? Not Vivek Ramaswamy. It was Larry Elder and the angry lady. I forget what the lady's name, but she was talking about the system. Is this the system that she's talking about? Name the system that the black folks was over, that we was in charge of. This is the system she talking about. The system that this black woman is ruining. And they ain't gonna probably never elect another black official here. This is totally ridiculous. She's using taxpayer money for her foundation, for traveling expenses. And not only you using taxpayers' money, you using their vehicles, you using their people, and you made a donation from the taxpayers to your foundation. This is the system, Cheslin Figaro. This is the system that she's talking about. Name a system that we was over. This system right here, this is a ridiculous system.
riding electric bikes.
Y'all see my bike?
Our town ship supervisor.
It looks like a misspending of tax funds. I think that's the biggest concern.
Dalton trustee Jason House has been doing battle with the mayor since she took office.
Very disturbing to hear these things or to kind of see some of the receipts that appear to be connected to it. And I think the taxpayers really deserve better than that.
And then there's the merch.
Here's a shirt. One of the t-shirts.
Along the way, Henyard sold and gave away t-shirts and hoodies, also available on her charity's website. A week before the trip, the township paid $17,000 for specially printed hoodies and t-shirts, but won't say what they're for.
I think that everything she has initiated has been something to promote her, something to get her name in household, something to get people to...
I'm going to let her say what she's saying.
Buy into voting for her.
Our investigation found at least $11,000 in public funds spent on that trip. But both Dalton and Thornton Township have been slow or unresponsive to open records requests. So what was the purpose of the 10-day march to Springfield?
I have created a bill, which we're going to speak before the Revenue Committee, to give everybody $5,000 on their income tax when they file, if you are suffering from cancer.
A noble goal, except the Revenue Committee wasn't meeting when the group arrived in Springfield. Henyard did later testify at a committee hearing in Chicago, but so far nothing has come of her bill.
I think I'm doing a damn good job on leave.
So we went to a recent Thornton Township Board meeting to ask Henyard some questions about all that spending.
I've never ever been bitter to the news. This is my olive branch to the media. Can you guys reach out to us and ask us our opinion before you post things? I would appreciate it.
And so we did.
I want to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
But Henyard wasn't anxious to talk about her charity.
Why did you and the board vote to give your foundation $10,000?
I'm the face of the foundation. My name is nowhere, sir.
Say again?
I'm the face.
You're the face. What was the purpose of going to Springfield?
Thank you, guys. Hey, she doesn't have any more comments, guys.
We're going to talk.
She doesn't have any more comments. Thanks, guys.
That's Keith Freeman, whom Henyard hired at both Dalton and Thornton Township and was part of her Springfield walk.
Look at Keith. Keith, baby.
Freeman also filed paperwork for the charity bearing Henyard's name.
Why are you using public money for your personal charity?
$17,000 for insurance. Why?
And with that, her security detail hustled Henyard upstairs and blocked the staircase with a table. So we tried asking another employee who went on that trip.
You went down to Springfield, and what were you hoping to do in Springfield?
You need to ask the people that handles that. I'm not the one that handled it. I was just riding the bike.
We need more officers on the streets. We need our streets repaved. So to spend that kind of money on a charity.
And you know, she's not alone. This is the problem. She's not alone. So what I was going to say before the other lady that got fired by Henyard, you make $250,000 a year. You could fund your own charity. You could print your own sweatshirts. I don't think she got any kids. It looks like she just out having fun. Why can't you do that? Why do you have to break the law to do? And she literally is breaking the law. She's going to be Kilpatrick 2.0. Remember Kwame Kilpatrick? Kwame Kilpatrick 2.0. But she's even worse than Kwame. She's blatantly, she don't even cover it up. She just thinks it's okay to do it. And she's not alone. This is what I was going to say. She's not alone. You see how many people are protecting her. So they agreeing to this nonsense. Maybe because as long as they get paid, it's okay. To me, it's really ridiculous. Raymond Brady said she's a drama queen. And she probably got an OnlyFans page too. Stop it. Tracy said Madison Heights 2.0. Madison Heights. Who's in Madison Heights? Put that. I can't remember. Yeah, so she has people protecting her. So that was Tiffany Henyard she's the mayor. She's part-time mayor of Dalton and full-time over that township. I guess that's a joining city or whatever. But you're literally double dipping. You're not supposed to be doing that. But they're allowing her. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next story. And this is about our girl, Karine Jean-Pierre. She was asking or answering questions regarding the border. Okay. We could say she was answering questions, but she really wasn't answering questions. She normally dodges questions or tell blatant lies about what the president is doing. It's just lies. So let's listen to what she had to say about the border.
And repeat the question?
What do you call it when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So here's what I will say. And you heard me say this a couple times, and I'll say it again because it is the facts. On day one, the first day of this president's administration, he put forth a comprehensive immigration reform that we believe that was desperately needed for this country. Right? As we know, and you've heard us say this many times before, we are dealing.
My bad, I don't know what I did there.
I know your dad had. We should try this again.
Same question as yesterday.
Can you repeat the question?
What do you call it when 10,000 people illegally cross the border in a single day?
So here's what I will say. And you heard me say this a couple times, and I'll say it again because it is the facts. On day one, the first day of this president's administration, he put forth a comprehensive immigration reform that we believe that was desperately needed for this country. Right? As we know, and you've heard us say this many times before, we are dealing with a broken system. And no action was taken from Congress. And so what the president was able to do, he imposed consequences for those who do not have the legal basis to remain. And he has removed more than 250,000 individuals. This administration has done so since May 12th. And so we've taken action. The president has secured. He also secured record funding. And let's not forget, this record funding that the president fought for over the last year or so was opposed by the House Republicans. This is something that they opposed and didn't want to see. And so what it allowed us to do is actually hire about 25,000 more, bring on CBP agents, and really do something that was historic that we hadn't seen. And so a broken system, it's been broken for the past couple of decades. The last administration certainly gutted the immigration system for 4 years. That's what they did. And you had Speaker McCarthy and the Republicans in Congress who continuously take steps to undermine what is currently happening, trying to undermine getting border security. We saw that this week with the CR, where they put forth another piece of legislation to propose continuing to cut some important resources that's needed, whether it's CBP. 800 fewer CBP is what they wanted to do. 50,000 pounds of cocaine. That's what it would hurt, right? In trying to prevent that from coming in, right? When you think about more than 300 pounds of fentanyl, when you think about more than 700 pounds of heroin, more than 6,000 pounds of methamphetamine to enter the country, that's what they were trying to prevent from the work that we're trying to do, prevent from coming into the country. So we would love to do this in a bipartisan way, but we're not seeing that. What we're seeing from House Republicans is wanting to defund DHS.
But when you spoke last month and you said, we are stopping the flow at the border, is 10,000 migrants in a single day stopping the flow?
What I will say is, I just mentioned 250 individuals have been stopped who do not have the legal pathway from coming in. That has been since May 12th. And as we are, looking at Eagle Pass, and I know this is where kind of the issue is at the moment. CBP quickly surged resources and personnel to the area, and thanks to their great work, we're able to swiftly vetted and processed into custody more than 2,500 individuals and cleared the area where migrants had congregated. And that's the work of our law enforcement. That's the work of our law enforcement at the border. Remember, House Republicans are trying to cut that. They're trying to cut that.
Totally different subject.
Sure.
There are some new relaxed standards in town.
So most of the stuff that she's talking about, she's lying. I mean, there was a study done by the Judiciary Committee in regards to the border. Since Title 42 expired, Congress, and we'll blame the whole Congress, Republicans and Democrats, they have not came to a resolution to solve the border crisis. And in this study, it revealed that just over 246,000 people enter into the border. Also in this study, it shows that they spent $30 million, and probably more than that, they actually give to Venezuela, Mexico, and I believe some other country that it was smaller amounts. But the point that I'm trying to make is she is trying to say, she's literally trying to say that the border hasn't, or the problem hasn't been solved just because of Congress, House Republicans, really. And she's really trying to say that Joe Biden is working diligently to solve the border crisis. And we know that not to be true. 10,000 people crossing the border. That number is flagrant. 10,000 people. Just the other day, we saw a news report. They were saying that 36,000 people entered in the span of 3 days or 4 days. That's 9,000 immigrants. And these are the people that they caught. So we know it's some people that's getting away. So the border crisis is real. The border crisis is real, and Joe Biden is trying to avoid the border crisis. And that's why they haven't been talking about it. And she's doing her job. She's not asking or answering any questions directly. He opened the border up for everyone. And she's lying about it. Someone's put on here Steve Bierbaum. I'm sorry, I can't listen to the lives continuously produced by this press secretary as the mouthpiece of the White House. Never in history of America has the administration allowed more illegal immigrants than what we've been allowed during this administration. Go ahead and fact check it. What you say. And he is absolutely right. We have not seen the amount of people that poured into the border. Ever. Not in Obama's administration, not in Trump's administration, not in Bush administration. Ever. But she's lying to us. And she expects people to believe us or to believe them. Another problem that we have is, the liberals, their talking point is, they're coming from a war-torn country. These people need to seek asylum. It's our duty. It's in the law. It's constitutional. Well, the Constitution is upheld for American citizens. Shouldn't you be an American citizen to have rights to the Constitution? It's just because you're here, that don't mean you have the constitutional right. No. You're not an American citizen. And the problem is, like I said, we liberals are thinking like we're doing the favor. We're supposed to have the bleeding heart. And I don't think we should. I don't think we should. Because we've on the short end of the stick. It's disgraceful. But this video or this question, she answered for 3 minutes and 44 seconds. So she lied that long. Basically, she lied for 3 minutes and 44 seconds. And he didn't even give her a pushback. Usually, guys, especially journalists, they are prepared for, I know she's going to say this. I know she's going to say that. So you could bring up what's actual and factual versus what she's saying. But he didn't give her any pushback. Tim Ducey. I think his name is Tim, right? Anyway. Our next story, I'm not going to beat a dead horse on border. We'll talk about that till the cows come home. They just need to close the border. Close the border. And like the rep said, I think he's based out of, I don't know. I think it was Texas. But anyway, the rep said, representative, he said 9 out of 10 people are not over here legally. They don't fall under the asylum protection. 9 out of 10 of them. So 9 out of 10 of them need to be shipped back and close the border down. That's how you fix the border. Just close it. Okay, so we're talking about a nut job. Look at this. I want you guys to look at this. God. There was a man on a campus. Don't know what campus it was, but he was a preacher. And he was talking about abortion or pro-life stuff. And this black lady right here brags about have an abortion, and it's really disgusting. Now, abortion used to be one of those things that you never tell nobody about. If you had an abortion, it wasn't a thing like, oh, girl, I had an abortion. Hey, I had me abortion, girl. I got pregnant and got abortion. No, people wasn't bragging about getting no damn abortion. Matter of fact, if you got an abortion, you like, ew. Number one, you got pregnant. So it's like, ew, you got pregnant. And then number two, you literally said you had an abortion. That was like unheard of. Back in my day, it was unheard of to get pregnant. See, this is how old I am. If you got pregnant, they shipping you off to another country. Your parents, you were like ostracized in the community. You cannot get pregnant and have illegitimate babies. That's was the thing. They didn't do it. Now it's normal for you to have an illegitimate baby, and then it's normal for you to just like, oh, I had an abortion in 2013. Like, who says this kind of stuff? So they're normalizing deviance. And what really irritates me when I see Black women touting, girl, I got me abortion, shit. Like, it's such a badge of honor for you to kill a baby, your unborn child. Anyway, this is what she was bragging about. And she thought it was funny. Until the end.
God loves you. God loves you, man. It is the love of God of why you're angry and why you're mad.
So, and it's normal now and why is it always at a college that these nut jobs are at, that they don't believe in God? This is what they're doing to your kids in college. I tell anybody, if you have any kids, well, I don't tell anybody this, but I'm telling you now, if you have any kids, don't send them off to college. If you do, make sure you put Bibles in their books, in their bags. Bless them. Make sure they have a good frame of mind so they won't go off on a deep end talking about they don't believe in Jesus Christ. I'm just saying. Because now this fool is throwing tomatoes at the preacher because he don't believe in Jesus.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
How you doing, young lady?
And I can tell you something else. Can I tell you something else? I had an abortion 2 years ago, and I don't regret it at all. They yanked the fetus out of my uterus. And I'm so happy.
Okay.
I'm so grateful.
Okay.
And I'm a professor at this university.
Did you hear her? She was gyrating and pumping up in the air, talking about they yanked the fetus out of my uterus, and I'm so happy, and I'm a professor. This is a Black woman. A woman, period. Now, the only thing, women are not just only to, birth children. But I think that's literally your main purpose. The main purpose of having a vagina and a uterus. That's the main purpose. So why would you defile that organ in your body? Why would you do it? Okay, maybe you don't want kids. Okay, that's fine. But why would you go out and tell this whole town square in the Minister and brag about, oh yeah, they yanked it out of my uterus and gyrating in the air, pumping the air. Sick.
Okay. And I make more money than you.
Okay.
And what else?
What's your name?
That's none of your business.
So you went to the town square in the middle of the university. You said they yanked the fetus out of my whatever, and I'm so happy, and I'm so glad that they did it. And I'm a professor, and I make more money than you. Okay, but you cannot be happy because you chose. This man is teaching about God. You chose to go up to this man and tell him about this atrocity, this experience that you should be not only ashamed of, but like mentally not all there. And you shared that experience with him like it was just like another day at the grocery store. And then he asks, "What's your name?" Now you don't want to tell your name, but your face is on the camera.
I mean, we're being cordial here. You here got my mic. We're being cordial, right?
Yeah, we're being cordial.
We're being cordial. So, my name is Ricky Castor. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I mean, nice to meet you. Is that you just came up here to tell us your business without giving us your name?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll pray for you. Okay, we'll pray the Lord save you.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. I wish I knew your name so we can know where to pray. Well, either way, you're a soul. Either way,
And
you're a soul.
kind of an asshole.
What makes me that?
You kind of ruined everybody's lunch. You're like, oh,
Sorry.
you took the cord out?
Yeah, I took the cord out. Yeah, because
Okay.
you won't give me my mic back. Please,
Okay.
please give me my mic back, please. Please, young lady. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay, you're not stronger than me. All right. God bless you.
God bless you.
Hey, officer! This young lady, she's trying to rip my stuff up.
Oh, I'm assaulting her.
So now you're trying to rip his mic from him because he said, "Have a blessed day," and you're the demon. Is that the problem? He said, "Have a blessed day." You know what really gets demons going? Have a blessed day, and I'll pray for you. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'll pray for you. That really gets somebody going. If you say those words, "Have a blessed day," or, "Oh, I'm going to pray for you, my sister. I'm going to pray for you, my brother." Oh, that chaps their hide when you say that kind of stuff. But now she's trying to get physical with the guy. And you think you're stronger than him? I don't understand that.
She's assaulting. She's taking his stuff.
Come here.
I have it on video.
Yeah.
I'm assaulting him?
Yes.
Why, you're very angry about your abortion.
Yeah.
And you're
Let
very
go of my
angry
stuff.
about your
Okay,
Come
if
on.
I get arrested right now, I would
Why are
literally
you
laugh
touching
out
his equipment
loud.
like that?
Hi. No, it's not.
Okay, you should probably let him have the stuff. I do.
Are you going to ask me?
Would you please let him?
Can I?
Am I assaulting
Can,
him?
So you need to let go right now or you're under arrest. Walk away right now.
I already said I was going to let it
not-
go.
walk
I have
away
a
now.
question for you, Boardman. Mr. Boardman,
Let's walk
am I
away.
assaulting him by holding this court?
can I get my stuff? Can I get my stuff, ma'am?
Now's your chance. We'll go talk, but we're going to do it over here.
Can I ask a question? Of course.
But
Am
let
I
go right
assaulting
now.
him? Is this assault?
Let go right now.
Yes or no?
Let go right now.
Yes, no. Yes or no?
You're under arrest. Put your hands behind your head.
We pray for the grace of God for you.
Well, she got hauled off. You wouldn't let it go, so they took your butt to jail. Now you can go brag about your abortion in jail to people that probably don't want to hear about. Angela Jordan, you told me TradCons is traditional conservatives. Okay. Now I know what that means. Okay. Her nasty attitudes prove she's not happy. She just wants to blame him and God for her unhappiness, but it's all her. Yeah, you got to be an unhappy person to stop at this guy was talking about Jesus Christ or whatever, and you offered the information, very personal information to him, just to say what, or to get a arousal out of him, but why would he be emotionally connected to something you did to your body? That doesn't make any sense. So I think this lady, she does need to see a psychiatrist, and hopefully she get the help that she needs, because she's not mentally sane. I'm going to pray for her. I'm laughing about it, but I am going to pray for her. She does need help. Somebody says or said she clearly miserable about the abort, kind of like it's been haunting her thoughts. It's honestly sad to see. It is. Somebody else said she has more heart than love. She shouldn't be teaching anybody. Somebody gonna dox her. They're probably gonna see it. That's if she is actually a professor, because why would you do that? But why do people do the things they do? We don't know. Somebody said, I don't believe a word she said. I believe she was saying that to goad him into a confrontation. And when it didn't happen, she was going to do whatever she could to antagonize him. There was no way he was taking the bait. Good for him. And someone else says, good perspective or great perspective. Maybe she was lying, which is even more sad. It is sad. Why would you lie about something like that? Anyway, like I said, abortion wasn't something that was like, oh, my body, my choice. We wasn't fighting for abortion. It was like such a shameful thing to talk about. But now people are talking about it like, girl, I had to go to an abortion clinic yesterday. Like, what? And I don't judge. The first person I met that actually had one, I was thinking to myself, like, girl, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with your life? And she was my friend, but in my head, I was thinking to my self, like, why are you so unprepared for life? It seems to me that, if you're having these sorts of procedures, you're promiscuous, but they have other things to stop you from getting pregnant. I couldn't understand how a woman could get pregnant by mistake unless you just not using protection. That was my thought process, because I went years without getting pregnant. Nobody ever I never got oopsed or anything like that. So I said, I think I told you guys this before, and this is when I was married, but one of the engineers that I used to work with, she told me, oh, Chawanne, you want to have another baby? I was like, not right now. She was like, well, if you're not planning to have one, you're going to have one. And I really had to think about that. Like, yeah, you're right. If I'm not planning to have one, or not planning, or if I'm planning not to have one, I'm pretty much saying I want to have another baby. So if everybody take that, kind of perspective, if you literally not planning to have a baby, you are literally planning to have one. So anyway, I could talk about abortion, other stuff. I don't judge people, but in my mind, I'd be like, ew. It's like, ew, you had an abortion, but not on like, I don't know what words I want to use, but anyway, it's to me, if you're at a certain age, you should have your shit together. Just get your shit together. You shouldn't be going to no clinic and having an abortion because you got pregnant by mistake. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, and we need to just stop killing our babies. That's what we need to do. Benny Bite. Wait, so is he trying to debate in public about abortion, or what is the context? I don't think he was trying to debate abortion. I think he was just preaching about God. And maybe he had something about pro-life. I'm not for sure, but he's a minister. He was talking about God, so she offered the information. So Raymond said by law you cannot touch another person. It's assault. Yeah, it is. And you said I didn't have my first kid until I was like 93 or 39. Yeah, me and my husband, we had our kids later. You know, I knew I wasn't responsible enough to have a kid, you know. So I just waited, and of course I wanted to get married before, but it's like, some people feel like, "Oh, I'm lonely. Buy a dog." Like, you don't literally need to have a kid to fill that gap. You could buy a dog. Okay. I think I got one more story that I want to share with you, and this is kind of crazy too. This is a crazy story. And it is kind of irritating. So it reads, Black parents, especially Black women, are some of the worst offenders when it comes to instilling anti-white values in their children. I'm not for sure if that's correct thing to say, because I'm not for sure if that's correct. In this case, a Black mom calling a little white girl a Karen, which is totally wrong. A lot of this racial discord being sown starts in the home. Well, Lauren, we could flip the side that you could say white parents are instilling, racist values in their kids. It all depends on the parent. We can't just label that as a Black thing or a white thing. I'm a firm believer, if you're a good parent, you're going to raise your child to be unbiased. You judge a man or a person by their character and not by the color of their skin. But this is the video that was posted up. It's
Don't you snatch that from her. Don't you snatch that from her. Don't do that again. Yeah, knock it down. Tear it up. Yep, and step on it. And Karen's just gonna have to deal with it. The fuck?
I do not agree with this. I totally don't agree with this. Now you're just bullying the kid. The kid mama is not over there. And so you get your little baby to say, oh yeah, knock it down. So you're encouraging bad behavior or not being able to play with other children. And I doubt it if this little girl realized, oh, this is a white girl versus a Black girl. Maybe she does, but I doubt if she really noticed the difference. It's till she get to this little girl's age, you really start noticing the difference. But anyway.
Yep, knock all of it down. Good girl. Very good, Naoki. And grab it and tear it out. Oh, well. Tear it up again. Don't put your hands on her. Don't do that. Yeah.
So, and then you're saying don't put your hands on their child. So apparently these parents, the little white girl, raised their kids well, because you see they're toddlers too. So they didn't want to, she didn't act out, and she just said stop it. So apparently she has good parents. But this lady that's behind the camera doing that is totally ridiculous. Why would you encourage your kid to be acting bad? She probably gonna get a whole bunch of calls from school. And the Post tried to make it anti-white. She trying to say especially black women, which I totally disagree with that, because it could be any race doing that. You shouldn't do that. Just be a good parent. You shouldn't raise your kid to be a tyrant. And she's gonna grow up to be a tyrant. And probably end up getting arrested for doing crazy shit. We're gonna look at her 10 to 15 years from now, and she probably gonna be on the news because her mom told her, oh, you could do that because these girls are Karens. Don't let that Karen do that to you. You tear their stuff up. Like, what? That don't even make no sense. That doesn't make any sense. I raised a child successfully after all the crazy lifestyles I went through. I think that's probably one of the, I guess, greatest accomplishment that anyone could aspire to, is raising children successfully, you know. Tracy said this will backfire, because if this is okay treatment of others for some, why not others? Raymond, you got a 27-year-old. Tracy said, I dealt with both white and black races in middle school. It never stopped at race. Yeah, I don't think I don't agree with this, what she's saying, talking about especially black women. I don't agree with that. I just think the type of person that parent is. If you raise your child correctly and raise them in a way that you tell them, hey, you're not supposed to be mean to anybody, treat everyone with respect. I don't think that's black or white issue. I think that's just a parent issue and how they was raised. And listen to this quote or tweet. This mother is teaching her girl that having a tantrum in a coffee shop or elsewhere is acceptable behavior. Good girl, tell that up. No one will be surprised once that girl is an adult and she acts out in a similar manner and learns that society has laws, and those public tantrums typically have repercussions. And that's why I said we're going to look at this girl probably gonna be in the news tearing some shit up. Tearing stuff up. And this could have caused a fight because parents overprotective with their kids. But since she's a baby, but you're the adult, you're encouraging that crazy stuff. So she's gonna be on Spirit Airlines. She's gonna be at Spirit Airlines. Something's gonna happen with their flight, and she's gonna go behind the counter. I don't know if you guys ever see that video. That lady went behind the counter and started ripping stuff out the wall, the computers, and she started tearing up the computers and stuff. This is gonna be her. Oh, you got my coffee. You gave me a caramel macchiato, and I asked for a caramel chai tea. And she gonna go behind the counter and tear some shit. That's her. That's gonna be her. Anyway, you guys, we've been going strong. Another live stream. You was actually able to hear me. You're actually able to hear me. I'm so proud of myself. Well, you guys, thank you for tuning in once again to another episode of Business Talks. You want to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. I never said that before. Click the notification bell. And make sure you tune in tomorrow because we're going to talk about something interesting. I'm going to try to keep it exciting and upbeat. But yeah, I am sending all my good to you. You guys have a great evening.